All right, so I have a few things to talk about, and we are going to go into those. We are going to go into those. By the way, I'm using Riverside. It is an incredible app. I'm not an affiliate yet, but I am. It is one of the 500 tabs that is open on my screen, and it is one of the 500 things that I'm going to get done today. By the way, if you guys have any ideas on some ADHD, IV medication that I can just throw in there because I am through the roof all over the place. So what I've decided is that I'm allowing myself like 2 hours in a day just to freely just be ADHD, just to think, because I have started waking up early in the morning regularly. I get up, I do breathing yoga, I walk the dog, do breathing yoga exercises to stimulate my body and get my lymph nodes going. I go and I fix a cup of coffee, and then I get to my desk, I have my meetings, and I get the work done, and I talk, and I blah, 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 but I'm structured, and the structure drives me nuts. But it's so healthy, it's so good for you. So I say all of that because I am joining you right now in one of those moments. I had a really amazing conversation with my friend Kim Negretti today. Kim Negretti is a beautiful, incredible, wonderful friend of mine. And 20 years ago, I did a show called A Noble Exile, and that show was absolutely fantastic. In a personal way, career-wise, that show was it was the foundation for everything in my career. I was about 30 years old. I had started writing maybe when I was like 29, 30, and then we produced it, or maybe it was like right at 30. I was like right at 30 years old, and then I did the show, and then it ran, and then I ended up moving back to New York to have the show done at a festival, and anyway. So the point is, the A Noble Exile was the foundation of my career. I had been doing small films. I had done a couple of things before that, and TV shows or shows, theater practices, theater, whatever. And I decided to do a one-man show called Noble Exile, which is one of the chapters in my book. That chapter in my book is called Trust. So anyway, I put it out there. I had a conversation with my friend Kim Negretti today, and it was really great to have her back in my life. So you can check that out. It'll be up on my school page, which is Act with Impact. You guys can check that out. But what I'm really anxious to get to is something that's very important. It's very important because it is happening right now in our country. It is this fervor, this awakening, this acknowledgement, this realization that mediocrity is in the ranks. Mediocrity. So, what we end up doing is losing valuable character in our government, in our politics, in our leadership, and then we end up having mediocrity run things. And in that mediocrity is also entitlement, and it's weighing. It is forced control, but not due to merit. And the merit that they think merit is supposed to be, is reflected in someone that looks like me. It looks like me because I am a white, blue-eyed male, but hold everything. He's a homosexual. Yes, he is. And we're going to go into that a little bit. I'm going to be really vulnerable. I'm going to be really authentic for a second. Just for a second, because there's no other time in my life that I've ever been authentic. It is just happening right now, so get it now while you can, folks. The authentic version of Brion is just going to happen. Like, it's already gone. You're not going to get it again. It happened, it came and went, and then that's where we're at. So, anyway, good times here, rolling. All right, this is what the thing that I want to bring up, the most important the most important thing that I want to bring up is what is happening. And these F-tards, these awful human beings that are running our country right now, and there is, and this 62 million, video hits on that, website. I went into a little bit more detail, went into looking into, I didn't go into, I didn't go into the CNN article. I looked at a variety of different takes on the article. And it's like we elected someone who was held accountable, was accountable by 9 of his peers and SA assault on a woman who admitted it. He admitted it. So none of this is, he admitted it before he was elected the first time. You can go and you can grab him and you can do whatever you want. If you're a star, they let you do it. Yeah, grab him by the... See, that is the same mentality. And I've said this over and over again. I said it 10 years ago. I'm saying it now. Character matters. If you think you can go in and take a woman and do whatever the hell you want to a woman, then you're going to think that you can get away with doing that to another country. How you do one thing is how you do everything. It is just the truth. And people do not change, my friends. And especially the presidency, I think it was Obama that said this, or Obama was quoting somebody. And God forbid I say Obama, oh my God, I'm going to turn him off because he said Obama. He's an Obama supporter. All right, look, here's the deal. He said that, I think it was him, but that it doesn't matter who said it. This is what was said. What was said was, the presidency doesn't protect you. It doesn't make you someone different. It doesn't improve you. It doesn't hide things. It actually brings out who you are. It brings out who you are. It's like people say that about people that get drunk. It's like it brings out your truth. It brings out the best and worst in you. And that is what we've seen. I honestly would go as far as to say at this point, it's deliberate. It's deliberate by an entire party of people. The fact that we're trying to protect, certain people is ridiculous. And by the way, for all you, I am equally as upset with the Democratic Party, the DNC, and I have been for a while, because what we have discovered is the ongoing capitulation. And, I will admit, I didn't know to what degree. The one thing I did not know, to what degree that Is Not Real has on our government. And I will know that a compromised man, the man who doesn't show his medical records, doesn't show his tax returns, doesn't show anything, and has had multiple allegations of fraud and abuse, a man like that is compromised. And a man like that can easily, and other countries will 100% go to bat to get that dude elected because they know he's compromised. It has come to my attention, and this is kind of evident in the Swalwell case. It has come to my attention that what is important to understand, and seems to understand, is that those people who get further in, that get really far in politics, that aren't at some point brushed aside, like Bernie and AOC and um, like there's certain people who are very popular and gradually get pushed aside and get moved aside. And that was evident in 2016 and 2020 with Bernie Sanders. That has been evident with the attempt for someone like Mamdani in New York, that Schumer and Booker and Jeffries and a lot of the established DNC Democratic Party were not enrolled with him. So we know that. Anyway, I don't want to get off on a tangent like that. I'm going someplace with this, everybody. And what I talk about is the human condition, the human experience. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So with that in mind, I want to bring up one of my favorite. I said that like I was going to bring her on to interview her, but that would be a great thing to put in my vision board because I love this woman. This woman is leadership like all over the juicy place. This you guys, if you're a dude and you want to be a man, go listen to her. Go and listen to her lives. We're going to get there. So her name is Canada's dating coach. Her name is Chantel. She is a powerhouse. Now, she is direct. She has her boundaries. She knows how to communicate effectively. And if you're a dude that wants to be a man, go there and listen. If you're a dude that just wants to keep being a dude, then just go there and then call in and just be an asshole. And you will get a ripped a new one. Look, it is powerful. I'm going to go over to her site right now just so you guys can see. Okay. We're going to go over here, share the screen with y'all, and we're going to do this. Yeah. So you should be able to see this. So this is Chantel. This is Chantel's Canada's dating coach. Which book is right for me? Quiz, take the quiz, the dating audit spreadsheet, dating compatibility tracker. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So if you're a dude and you want to be a man, go to her lives. Let's see if we can get over there. I mean, she's. I freaking love women. Got everybody. Women.
Okay, we got some pretty big news.
Okay. Oh, that was Keith Edwards. Keith Edwards is awesome too. I mean, well, see, I think he's super cute, but he is. I don't know. I'm not going to badmouth him until I have something specific to say, but I think he's fun. I think he's fine. He's very cute. We'll say that. Okay. Where am I? Am I sharing? What am I sharing? Oh, David Pakman's awesome too. He's smart AF. What are we doing? We're going to go to Chantel's page. Oh, I know what I'm doing. We're going over to Instagram. Instagram. And why can't I get in? Not now. All right. I don't know if y'all are seeing this. Kamala Harris. Donald Trump and Republicans have tried to rig the 2026 midterms. Today in Virginia, by the way, hell yeah, Virginia voters sent them a clear message: the power is with the people. And that is true. And they're the one who started it. And I'm glad for once that they are playing this way. It is no doubt that, I don't know. All right. I'm looking for Chantel. Why can't I just do a search? Chantel dating coach. Canada's dating coach. Oh, there she is. Okay, so this is Chantel. This is Canada's dating coach. I love her. We're just going to watch a clip real quick. Why can't I? Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. So she goes through. I don't know if y'all can hear this or not. So she goes through and she offers a list of things that people should or get to, well, want in a relationship. And she goes over them. Okay. Okay, so she goes through this and it's just go and follow her. She is showing up like crazy. People are defensive, and I will say, if you get defensive, then you got to check yourself. You got to check yourself. And the reason why I'm bringing her up is because there's a few things that I want to discuss. If you want to learn, if you're a guy and you want to learn, and if you want to be a part of this elevated next move, this and it's Candace Dating Coach. I'm gonna order her book. Well, I'm gonna get the free book because you can go onto her website and you get the free book. And then where'd it go? Which book is right for you? Take the quiz. And then and I never do this. I never do this because I haven't been as affected by something that is so powerful in a long time. And there we go. Get your book, first book for free. So I'm going to go in there later. You can get your first book for free as well. And then I'm also going to I'm going to go in and I'm going to become what do you get? When you an affiliate. Yeah, because that would be awesome. I think she's really fantastic. I think she's about to blow up. Well, she's already kind of blowing up. The reason why I'm pointing her out, the reason why I'm mentioning her is because she makes some points that are, first of all, she says wait 3 months before you kiss someone, 3 months before you have intercourse or sleep over or whatever. That's when you are first meeting them. So she made it clear that you can know someone, like you can have a friend in your life that you've known for years and you end up dating, then those rules get, but this is when you have a first date with someone you don't know and someone you've never met, etc., which is so good. The advice there is so good. I'm going to be really open, I'm going to be vulnerable, and I'm going to share. This stuff works. This is what I did when I first came out, because I had to do a lot of evaluation, which unfortunately I don't think straight people in general, but certainly not straight guys. Straight guys specifically, and I would say, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that, don't have to do all the questioning, all the introspective, all the internalizing, all the self-awareness and acknowledgement that so many people do. Gay men, gay women, people that are queer, bisexual people, people who are, but people that fit inside their own construct, or choose to fit inside the construct of shame and hide and put away all the sexual desires and all the sexual. There was a guy on her show today that was like, he didn't know erogenous zone. He didn't know what erogenous zone was, and that is it. I mean, I knew at age 15 what erogenous zone was probably because I did a lot of theater, and because I had questions about my body. I had questions about my sexuality at the age of 10, 11. I had questions. And so I wanted to know as much about, because the outside world that I saw was heteronormative. It was heteronormative. That's what I saw on television, in my church, in my life. Nobody represented me. And so I thought I was like this pariah, this anomaly, this anything that with a negative connotation you could assess. I thought that's what I was, because I thought, when am I going to start liking these girls that I'm supposed to like? And then much later, I recognized the fact that I felt very uncomfortable during that time of being with women. I felt it was inauthentic. It didn't make sense to me. I didn't feel like I was truthful to myself. I certainly didn't feel like I was being truthful with them. This was, 30 years ago? Yeah, this was over 30 years ago. So I was just trying to figure out how I was supposed to be in this construct from small town Northeast Texas. I knew I was different. I just didn't have the materials, the understanding, the mentorship, the example to follow. I was in all other normal capacities. I mean, I was a normal kid. I liked to play all the sports. I liked to play I was in karate, and I was in Boy Scouts, and those are the sports I liked. Boy Scouts wasn't really a sport, but it was, kind of. Anyway, point is, where we're going with this. The struggle and the search for self. The search for self was what I got to go through. It was later a privilege, an honor, a gift that I got to go through. A self-reflection, observation, understanding of who I was deep down. It made me appreciate we are having an ambulance and a fire engine and a siren that's happening. So, okay. So I was forced to, I was forced I was forced to have interactions that did not feel natural with women because society said that you were supposed to do that. And I was trying to figure out how I am supposed to do that. This is what makes sense, but I had no mentorship. Okay, moving forward. Then I went to a private Christian college to pray the gay out of me. And then simultaneously, I was like I was offered a scholarship to do West Side Story. So that negated the whole thing. And I was dating girls and it just didn't feel right. It was inauthentic. And I'm like, how am I supposed to live the rest of my life this way? And then when I leave that school, it's like the WB. I'm like this kid that's coming to terms with his sexuality, and it's raining outside, and I go to Austin, and I have a week by myself for spring break because my dad was getting a job transfer down to Austin. It was exciting. It was going to be a good time. And then I spent a week, and I walked outside the gay bar, and I was like, oh my God, I hate myself. I hate myself. And it's just awful. And how am I ever going to be a star? How am I ever going to be a star, a actor, a respected Hollywood performer, a husband, a man who loves women in that way? How am I going to be able to be a Christian? And then I said, well, I'll just hide it. I'll hide it. I'll hide it. I'll hide it. And then I'll push it down, and then that way I will sell that authentic, beautiful, lovely, wonderful part of myself so that I can be a great actor, a great Christian, a great family man, like all of these things. And it was not until I accepted the part of me that I wanted to push down and push away, it wasn't until that moment that I was able and bring that out and acknowledge it and love it and embrace it. And so because meanwhile, by the way, while I was pushing all that down at 19, like 18, 19, 20, I guess, while I was pushing all that down, all my friends, the people that are around me, were loving me. They were embracing. This is in Austin, by the way. And they could see things that I couldn't see. And I knew that they were I didn't understand it. But there were people also, the same people who demanded that I was gay, that demanded that I was a F word, that would call me those things, and I would swear up and down I wasn't. And they were going to call me that, and those were the same people who believed it to be wrong. Do I make myself clear? The same people that wanted so badly to pick on me and to push me down and prevent me from being authentic and who I was. The same people who did that were also the same people who thought it was an abomination and it's sinful and I'm going to hell and all those things. It's abusive. They live with this shame. Nothing you ever do is going to be good enough. Why? Because those people, and I was one of them when I was a kid, I was raised in it, are until you deal with the fact that you are not unworthy, if you are raised in a culture that says you're a sinner, you can never be worthy of anything, you must always look outside of yourself you must humble yourself, you must be humiliated. That's humility. You must be less than yourself. You must speak meekly. You mustn't take up too much space. The Lord doesn't like a gloater. The Lord doesn't like somebody. And meanwhile, while all these people are being told by this religion, keep your mouth shut, be quiet, don't be true to yourself, don't be honest, don't be open. This guy, this orange man, is just climbing his way to the top of the ladder, and just doing all the things that everyone else is told not to do and be. I'm coming to it. I'm getting there. Everything that they tell you in those pulpits not to be and not to do, and be quiet and be meek. Humble yourself. You're a sinner. You're unworthy. You must feel shame for just being. Meanwhile, they're just taking everything out of the tithing bin, and they're taking everything, and they're moving into the politics. They're taking up the real estate. They're flying on their jets. And you believe them because that's so easy to believe. But then you're like, wait a second. And let me just offer a caveat. I loved my parents. I love my parents. And my dad was an incredible human being. My mom is an incredible human being. I'll go into that some other time. I love my parents. They also were part of a group of people, and not them, but people in this church who would judge and hold down and oppress and were racist and bigots and all of the things that you can imagine. Misogynist stories. I got stories. But they tell you that the only way that you'll ever be worthy is by the forgiveness of something that cannot be proven. I'm not going to get into all that. I want to get into your hearts. I want to get into your hearts the way that I got into mine when I was, and so many people like me who are empathetic and compassionate, we stop and we recognize the thing that we wanted to shun away, the part that is supposed to be bad, the gay part. It's not just the sexual orientation. It is not just, that is not the thing. It is the thing that the people might be afraid of because it branches outside of the customary norm, the laws and rules. And by the way, if you want to just go. Leave us the hell alone. We're not outside your churches going, but you come into our spaces and demand that we be silent. Because you've been told to be silent. You've been told to go out and tell everybody that they're going to hell if they don't believe and think like you. But that moment when I said, I am going to have to hide that part of me, I can accept that part of me. I can say, hey, okay, well, obviously there's this thing called gay, and I am it. So I'm never going to love honestly. I'm never going to love truthfully. And I am going to hide that part so that I can have a career as an actor. That's what I want. That's what I wanted. I can make my family happy, can make society happy. But it wasn't until I couldn't anymore, because that thing that was the gay thing was also my light. It was the joy. It was the kid that ran around the house singing, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Hello, my baby. Hello, my dad. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me, then you'll be left alone. So, baby. Anyway, that was the kid. And that kid started getting sad. And that kid who needed to hide that was lying to the girls that he was with. And then that kid was not shining on stages, and the kid was hurting. And when he finally came out, he made an agreement with himself. And this is why Chantel, the dating coach, means so much. And what she's delivering, what she's giving, and why the straight community, I feel like, can learn a lot from. I feel like that we can all learn a lot from one another. And guys, if you're out there and you're feeling defensive because women are speaking out, just know that there are a lot of guys that are friends with their wives, they are friends with their girlfriends, they are friends with the women in their lives. And they don't see these women as just sexual beings. I don't see my husband as just a sexual being. I see him as a partner, as a friend, as a love, as a person I can talk to, that we get along. We enjoy each other's company. We go through our struggles. We go through our we don't have a lot of differences, but we do go through struggles. We go through, but we give each other the space to be and to live and to love one another. That is possible, and I see it in straight couples all the time. I see it in these relationships where the men just love their women, and the women they manage things and they take care of the life, and then some of them are the breadwinners, and the men are like, yeah, I'm going to take care of the kids. When you look at what a matriarchal system is, and Chantel gives a really great definition, when you look at what the definition of matriarchy is in that light, it means that the best person for the job, the best conditions are given. And you really got to ask yourself right now, the results right now, and looking at our globe and what history has told us about men in power, and if you really take a big step back and go and look at it, it is so apparent. This strange hatred that men have for women, and it is deep rooted into that they can't create. Is it like, look at the symbols. I have a poet's weakness for symbols. I use him also as a symbol. He's the long delayed but always expected, something that we live for. There's a little Tennessee Williams for you. The idea that Trump's got to have this big tower. He's got to have these big towers. There's one here in Chicago, and it's such an eyesore. It's the symbolism of, I've got to have the biggest tower. I've got to have the biggest tower. I've got to have my name all over it. I've got to have the biggest, the best. It is compensation, my friends. It is compensation. You do not have to have the biggest penis. You just get to be a good guy. You get to be a good person. You get to listen. And women taking space and being really, the whole bear thing. Would you rather be, I do that question again now, after that 62 million hit site came up. I don't think women have those sites. And when you, going back to my first point, if you say, I can do anything I want, and I can do anything I want, and I wouldn't lose a vote if I did that on Fifth Avenue or whatever. This person thinks he can do whatever the hell he wants. And up until, he's gotten away with it thus far. Oh my gosh. Who is this person? And how did our system allow it to happen? But he ended up getting up there, and he said, you can do anything. If you're a star, you can grab a python. And they let you do it. Who would want to? Who would want to do that? I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to do that to somebody. I started this conversation off because there are 3 things that Chantel says. And one of them, the first thing is that you wait for the new person 3 months. And when I came out of the closet, I made this commitment to myself. And it was, I was going to come out. And I have a very dear friend who told me when I was coming out, and I was terrified to tell my parents. I had a very dear friend of mine tell me, you don't know how they're going to respond, right? But you get to tell them that you're done dealing with it, that you've dealt with it all your life. Because I didn't want to keep my life from my parents anymore. That was really what it came down to. I was like not going to the house. I was not spending time with them. I was not sharing I was hiding from them, and I hated it. So finally I was like, well, I'm going to tell them. And I basically said, long story short, I basically said that I'm done dealing with this. Now it's your turn to deal with this. And that friend of mine, Johnny, who told me, and it relieved me. I was like, yeah, I've dealt with this my whole life up until, I was like 19, 20 years old. I'm done dealing with this. Now it's your turn to deal with it. As soon as I did that, it's like layers of metal and cement and all this gross, restrictive shame and all this stuff just fell off. It just fell away. And it's so freeing. And it was when I would perform or get up on stage and have experiences and sing. And I did opera at the restaurants that I worked with there and in Austin and New York. Like, it was like light. I didn't care what people thought anymore. I was always trying to hide some part of myself. And that's the thing, guys. Everybody. If you oppress the part of a person that apparently isn't supposed to, is like sinful or whatever, people react in a certain way. The guy in Louisiana, 8 children gone. I don't know that he was gay that doesn't matter. It is the oppressiveness, and it doesn't just stem in terms of sexuality. It stems in some sort of male thing that men are generally across the board hurting, and they react. I know because that shame I felt it so long as, and I was lucky that I had parents who loved me, and I had friends around me, and I had a dream to become something special. I had a dream to be on stages and travel the world. I had a dream that I knew was really powerful, and I was terrified to leave that Christian college because I knew I was going to have to face what I was going to have to face. And I made it clear to myself when I came out, and I made a pact to myself that no matter who I was with, if it was a one-night stand, if it was multiple, people, if I was single, no matter who I was with, I was going to love that person. That when I was with that person, it wasn't going to be just a mechanical, technical, sexual. It was going to be connected in a loving way. I was going to see that person. I made a commitment. And I can say pretty clearly that every single person I've been with, I have had that consciousness, that conscious connection with them. And there is an understanding, although sometimes it's the line is crossed, but there is an understanding inside the gay community. For the most part, at least this is my experience, and I see signs all over the place here about consent. Consent can be yes in one moment, and it can be absolutely not 5 seconds later. And as long as it is no, then it is no. You don't need to ask again. You don't need to maneuver. And I guarantee you, you're going to get points. You're going to feel better about yourself if you just take the no. It's not a reflection of you. It just has to do with whatever that person is going through at the time, and they just don't want it. And that is not up to you to enroll them or engage with them further. But I made a commitment to myself that not only was I going to love every single person, and made a conscious, and I think pretty much every time, and that sex for me is not just sex. And I think it's important for us to honor that is a human being on the other side. And I think that's what people are never taught. I think men in particular are not taught. I had to learn it because I had to be connected with myself, deep down understanding of who I am. And the other thing is we learn about people. And so I had a rule that I would not, and I think for as long as I think this is pretty much what's come out since when I was gay, or when I came out as gay, is that I wouldn't have intercourse for 3 months, like intercourse, meaning, intercourse. And then when that 3 months was over, and then we would get tested before we had any kind of action. And then I would always ask in the first time, are you, whatever, the making sure that they are, I ask all the questions about STIs and all that stuff. And then we go and get tested together. And then if we've made it 3 months, then there's a lot more freedoms that we can have. That was the protocol. And I will say, I've been with my husband now for 10 years. And I had a 3-year relationship before that. And I had an off and on again 8-year relationship before that. And then I had many relationships in between. 2 weeks, a week, one night, whatever. Just honestly, but I loved every one of those people. And there is, I think the answer to this is men just get to understand that there's another human being on the other side of that. And I don't think that they see women as human beings. And I think there is a strange, I didn't know it was to this degree, hatred of women. And I think, and there's this philosophy and there's psychology around it, is that the deep-rooted part of it is that women can create. And that's literally, there's plenty of conversations happening right now. And women don't need to dominate. They don't need to, they build amazing things because it serves a purpose. They build amazing things because it provides structure. There's plenty of buildings and stories, and there's amazing things that women have done. They do it because it provides something. And there are women who serve and want to be close to the patriarchy because they think it's safe. And we are seeing that it's not. It is not a safe space. A person must go through the process of acknowledging and seeing themselves and asking themselves those deep questions, seeing themselves as human and not in comparison with anybody else. We don't compare ourselves to other people. We compare ourselves to who I am today and who I get to be tomorrow. And we get to love one another. And we get to let women lead. And I don't even, I said let women lead. But women, I think because they don't need it, because they have so much power. That's when you have power, you don't need to prove it. You don't need to dominate other countries. You don't need to pull out all your big guns and all your missiles. And when you truly have power and confidence and, when you are something, when you are really something, you don't have to prove it. You don't need to build gold, big buildings that have no purpose. He is very much compromised, and he very much does not love. And it goes the same with nature. It goes the same with nature because, it's like our earth is mother. Why should I take care of her? Because I also hate the thing that can create, the thing that gives life. Mother Earth gives life, so I'm going to hate her too. I'm going to pass policies that prevent her from creating effectively. And so that's the thing. That's the thing. All right, everybody. I have talked for a while. I really wanted to talk about Chantel. Yeah, she's pretty awesome. Anyway, I'm out. This will be up. I'll talk to you soon.